Misleading and offensive. That is how the Capitol Police Chief Tom Manger described the presentation of footage from the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol on Fox last night. Today, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, a Republican from Kentucky, sided with the police chief's assessment.
It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
On the other side of the Capitol, however, it was House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, Republican of California, who gave Fox exclusive access to 40,000 plus hours of security footage from that day. Yes, Fox, the very channel whose executives and hosts have recently been revealed in a deposition to have knowingly presented lies to their viewers about the 2020 election, lies that inspired the very same assault on the Capitol on January 6, 2021. Now, the Capitol Police Chief says the channel conveniently cherry-picked video showing calmer moments during the insurrection, showing, for instance, video of rioter Jacob Chansley, known as the QAnon shaman, walking through the Capitol, not receiving pushback from police in those moments. This was presented without the fuller context, as if this video of how Chansley actually got into the Capitol building did not exist. It was not aired. In court documents, of course, prosecutors say that officers tried repeatedly to get the shaman to leave the Capitol, and he, of course, ultimately pleaded guilty to felony charges related to his activities on January 6. Now, Fox claimed these small snippets of video prove that Democrats and others on the January 6 committee have been lying to the American people about what happened on that day, that very little about the attack was violent, Fox claims. Here's how Republicans who were actually in the Capitol on that day described what happened inside the Capitol during the insurrection. Again, these are Republicans.
I mean, this is insane. I mean, I've not seen anything like this since I deployed to Iraq in 2007 and 2008. I mean, this is America, and this is what's happening.
Madam Speaker, today the People's House was attacked, which is an attack on the Republic itself. There is no excuse for it. A woman died, and people need to go to jail.
To those who wreaked havoc in our Capitol today, you did not win. Violence never wins.
So here are some of the things we know to be true about January 6. Fact: Fox was given access to more than 40,000 hours of Capitol security footage by Speaker McCarthy. CNN and other media organizations such as ABC News or Gannett, which owns USA Today, or CBS News or the Los Angeles Times among them. We have also requested access to the same footage. As of now, we have not gotten that access. McCarthy's office say they're still working on it. Another fact: this move comes at the same time that Fox is being sued by Dominion Voting Systems for repeatedly lying about its company and airing lies about the 2020 election results. Those lies resulted in the January 6 Capitol attacks. As part of that trial, Rupert Murdoch, the chair of Fox, admitted under oath that some Fox guests and some Fox hosts lied about the 2020 election on the air. And we know from the evidence presented by Dominion that hosts texted each other about various liars whose deranged nonsense they covered and, in some cases, platformed. Sidney Powell is a complete nut. No one will work with her. Ditto with Rudy Giuliani, wrote one of those hosts. But none of that stopped Fox from filling hours of airtime elevating these false conspiracy theories about the election. Now, in his deposition, Chairman Rupert Murdoch, when asked if he seriously doubted the claims of massive election fraud by Trump and his allies, Murdoch responded, "Oh, yes." And he later said it under oath, "I would have liked us to be stronger in denouncing it in hindsight." That's the channel, the network that McCarthy handed over all this footage to, or gave access to all this footage. Here's another fact. Fox used the footage given to them exclusively by Speaker McCarthy to frame a description of the events of January 6, where they say very little was organized and very little was violent, where the phrase, in their view, deadly insurrection, was a lie. Deadly insurrection, they say, every part of that was a lie. Keep in mind, 4 Trump supporters died that day. One of them was shot by Capitol policemen as she tried to climb through a window to get into the House chamber where police were trying to evacuate lawmakers, including Republicans, from the unruly mob. Now, Donald Trump immediately said after this Fox presentation that the special shows all the January 6 defendants should be freed. All the prisoners, let the January 6 prisoners go, he said. Now, all of this alternate theory of what happened that day contradicts law enforcement, contradicts people who were there that day, contradicts Capitol Police officers, contradicts bipartisan members of the January 6 Select Committee, and contradicts congressional Republicans. But, you know, don't take my word for it.
They tried to hunt down the Speaker of the House. They built a gallows and chanted about murdering the Vice President.
Terrorists, not patriots, literally occupied the floor of the House.
It was a riot. It was a dangerous riot. It was a violent one.
Law enforcement agents were attacked and seriously injured.
I was electrocuted again and again and again.
They were bleeding, they were throwing up, they were, they had, I saw friends with blood all over their faces. I was slipping in people's blood.
This morning, I reached out to Speaker McCarthy's office and I asked 4 simple questions. Does the Speaker of the House agree with Fox's conclusion that everything about the phrase deadly insurrection is a lie? Does the Speaker of the House agree that very little about January 6 was organized or violent? Does the Speaker of the House agree that members of the January 6 Select House Committee lied about what was on the security footage? And does the Speaker of the House agree that, quote, the 2020 election was a grave betrayal of democracy, unquote? So far, Speaker McCarthy has not responded. One does wonder how much facts matter to him. This campaign to belittle what happened on January 6, 2021 was also done in service of the continued argument that the 2020 election was a grave betrayal of American democracy. So how are congressional Republicans reacting today to Fox's airing of January 6 footage last night, as they did? Well, let's take a listen.
What do you think of, Tucker Carlson got this security footage from Speaker McCarthy and really started to downplay January 6th, that it was, mostly peaceful chaos in his view, and said it was not an insurrection, said that Brian Sicknick's death was not related to January 6th. How do you feel about that?
I think it's bullshit. I was here. I was down there. And I saw maybe a few tourists, a few people who got caught up in things, but when you see police barricades breached, when you see police officers assaulted, all of that, or you had to be in close proximity to it, I just don't think it's helpful.
CNN's Manu Raju joins us now from Capitol Hill. And Manu, you've been talking to both Republicans all day, getting their reaction to Fox's airing of security footage last night. What are they telling you?
Yeah, they are making it very clear that they sharply disagree with the whitewashing of events here. They lived through what happened. They saw what happened. They've seen the investigations, and they know how deadly the violence was. Many of them, they all had to leave the Senate in a hurry to secure locations, and we saw deadly violence occur that day at the hands of Donald Trump supporters. And it wasn't just moderate Republicans who broke from Tucker Carlson's portrayal of it. It was leaders like Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, but it was also rank and file members, including some conservatives like Kevin Cramer of North Dakota.
Breaking through glass, windows, and doors to get into the United States Capitol against the orders of police is a crime. When you come into the chambers, when you start opening members' desks, when you stand up in their balcony, to somehow put that in the same category as a permitted peaceful protest is just a lie.
I mean, I think it was, it was an attack on the Capitol. There were a lot of people in the Capitol at the time who I think were scared for their lives.
I thought it was an insurrection at that time. I still think it was an insurrection today.
And Mitt Romney told me that he believed that giving Tucker Carlson the security footage and the way that Carlson portrayed it was, quote, disgusting and dangerous. And he also said it was a mistake for McCarthy to give that footage to Tucker Carlson. No word yet from McCarthy himself. We approached him in the Capitol today, Jake, and he said he would answer questions later today about all of this, so we'll see what he has to say.
But didn't he say that last week too, Manu? Didn't he say he was going to take questions last week and he never took questions?
He did on one day in the Capitol. The next day he answered a question, so we'll see what he does.
Okay.
Tonight, Jake.
Well, let's see what he does. Manu Raju on Capitol Hill. Thank you.